What's up, my people? What's up, my homies? What's up, my friends? I'm Gnarly Vato, and these are Gnarly Times. Well, today story is gonna be a CYA story slash YA. Well, today I'm gonna talk about the time when I was in Preston. I was there for a year, right, in Greenbrier, in lodge. Well, my brother was next to me in a different lodge. Well, at this time, I used to gamble a lot. I used to gamble with Southsiders, the fools from the Bay, the White Cats, whoever want to gamble, let's gamble, and well, so I was always coming up, hustling. So there used to be a lot of people on the lodge that didn't have money, so a lot of times you just depended on the 3 meals a day or some snacks maybe they might give you or something. Well, there used to be this white cat named, they call him BAMBI. I don't know where he's from, but he was real skinny and just tall, kind of, about 6 foot. I don't know. I was young then, but he was taller than me. Well, they always used to be like, when I rolled up, he was already there, I think, so they would always like, Bambi. I think Bambi went in there for burning something down or something. I was like, Bambi, but they always like, oh, Bambi, and rub his hair, always be messing with Bambi, pushing him, and all Bambi would go around with like a green cup in a bowl, like maybe someone's gonna feed him. All he ever did depended was on these, the state issue food. So sometimes I'd be like, hey, Bambi, here. I'll toss him a soap out, Be like, hey, whatever. Homeboy be like, I'll be like, man, whatever, you know. But I'd be, it would be crazy. Well, one day I was on my way to, well, they held me back for school, right? And so I'm there sitting, waiting at like 2 periods was. I didn't go first period or second period. I think third period I was going. Well, during this time, Bambi was there. There's probably like 10 of us on the hall, on the lodge that didn't go to school, waiting for class, or sometimes the class is out. So we're there waiting. Sometimes we could just, they would watch TV or whatever, walking around and on the tables or whatever we're doing. So we stayed in the day room while the staff was there. They would have 2 offices on the end of the hall, on the end of the building that look out, all glass windows. Well, I was there chilling, watching whatever. I don't remember what exactly I was doing, but I see these fools like talking. This fool. I'm not trying to be racist or biased or anything, but he was this black dude from LA, right? He was a creeper. But this fool, like, he's there negotiating, because at the time we had some black homeboys that were CXIV, and there was one homeboy named O-Dog, so they would arrive with us or whatever, and that's what I learned when I rolled up. Like, damn, black homeboy, he would bust after us, what we call eat, so yeah, it was crazy, but it was cool. I had cool homeboys, became pretty tight. Me and O-Dog from U-Boy Crib, Fresno. But anyways, so anyways, some of these, they see actually XIV wouldn't mess with the other Crips. You know what I'm saying? Because they would follow our rules, conduct themselves like we did. So maybe certain things they could do with them, but they couldn't bust after them. I'm not sure the other rules, but well, this fool's there talking to Bambi, and you be talking like putting your hand over the chairs because the chair, you're in one row, and then the other chair is right there, right in front of you. So you'd be like, or homeboy be right here talking behind, whatever it is, and I was just, because there ain't much going on the lodge waiting for school, right? So sometimes people write letters or whatever. So I hear this fool negotiating, like, he's like, hey, Bambi, how about Bambi used to be starving, you know, and he'd be like, hey, how about a case? Well, you know, first it was like, what the heck, a case? I'm thinking like, what the hell is a case? Well, this fool, um, he showed him. I don't know. I just caught bits and pieces of it, right? So then I'm like, what? Well, whatever, you know, and just tripping, whatever, not even paying attention, just like, okay, well, do my own thing. Well, they, I ended up getting, they called for school. So it was like 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, and they're like, so it was time for me to go to class. So I was like, all right, whatever. Maybe sometimes you're by yourself in the lodge, or sometimes it's homeboys, you know. It'll be like Bulldog there or Southsider. It just be like random people, you know. So, well, I'm sitting there. Anyways, I'm like, all right, I'm gone. So I start head out the door, right? So I end up getting back later. Later on, I think it was right before lunch. Oh, I think it was around lunchtime. Well, they end up. I'm not sure the exact time, but I ended up coming back from school. It might have been before lunch or right after lunch. It was something like that, but because we all had to go back to the lodge to eat lunch, you know. So we went. Anyways, I think it might have been after lunch because they're negotiating, and then I ended up coming back later. But anyways, the cops are there, right? All the goon squad or whatever they call them, and they're. I was like, what's going on here? You know, they're like, oh, Bambi and oh boy, and I was like, what? Well, it came to find out that Bambi, the oh boy, because Bambi always starving, right? He just depended on the state food, so he's like. Oh boy, talked him in, negotiated into him a they negotiated a price for a sexual act, you know, and oh boy from, you know, from L.A. told him, I'll give you a case of noodles if you give me oral sex. Like, dude, some, you know, so Bambi was all happy, like, I guess, you know, so he went in the restroom and gave him. You know that. So, and in certain restrooms, and in there you had north, south, bulldog toilets, others, you know, certain spots, you know. The blacks and the Bloods and Cribs, whoever was the Bay, they had their own. So they negotiated a price. They went and did that oral sexual act. They end up well, oh boy, he's like, I'm good, you know, I ain't gonna pay you. Well, Bambi's like, hey, give me my noodles, you know, because we used to have lockers, and locks on them, real lock, combination locks, and that's what they say, lock in a sock. Sometimes you see a lock missing on someone's locker, they would go crazy, like, hey, where's all these locks, you know, because they knew someone would get packed. So he's like, nope, I'm not giving you nothing, you know. Well, Bambi, because he got sex played, you know, took advantage of, he went and snitched on the staff. Well, told what he did and what happened, and they snatched him up and the other homeboy up, or old boy up, and took him to jail, to the redirect, or you know what I'm saying, lockup. And I can't think of the Tamarack, you know, and I never been to Tamarack, but I heard it was horrible. You know, that's was crazy. There were so many people, and you try to just fly below the radar, you know, and just do what you could do to survive. I never survived like that. I just gambled to survive, you know, but this was one of these things that people get manipulated and brainwashed and taken advantage of, you know, because Bambi had nobody to take care of him. You know, he was on his own in there. He wasn't running no gang, nobody, not even the white cats, you know. He just solo bolo, and so it's like, it was crazy and horrible to see that. Took an advantage. I see him always get pushed and punched and just whatever, you know? Always just getting taken advantage, and that really did get taken advantage of, you know? And like they would smack him with the towel, like a rat tail, you know, just dude just mean stuff to him, you know? I think they might have passed him sometimes, like just gave him wedgies. Just crazy, you know? It was just like he'd be sitting in a chair facing towards the TV, and someone walking behind the other row would just push his head or smack him inside the head. So it was just horrible to see someone just get taken advantage. So that was times I'd be like, hey, Bambi, you know, be like on the strength, you know, just like. But anyways, it's one of the stories that was in YA. It was crazy. It was in '96, and I'm just glad, you know, to not see these stories, but learn from these tales and want to share these tales for somebody else, you know, and avoid a lot of times with manipulation. That's why I tell my wife to this day, I think people that were in YA always had one step ahead in mind games with other people, because they're always manipulating people, you know, getting manipulated. And the next time you get manipulated, you ain't gonna get manipulated again, you know. But this is a gnarly tale from Gnarly Vato. Stay gnarly.